I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana. So you really were manipulating her. I knew Lana. I made it look like blame lay with her sister. And when she saw the scene, she would ask for my aid. You assisted Miss Skye. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted. When I tampered with the crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence. This was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you. 2 pieces of evidence? You mean those items in your safe? But why? For insurance, of course. Insurance? Well, I was always sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed. You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? What do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make police cheat by dumb luck. See this jar fragment? I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces. I still like, why would he have written Emma's name in the first place? That doesn't make any freaking sense. But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate them? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That makes way more sense than him being like, oh, my last dying breath, let me implicate this girl who 100% killed me by accident and complicate the entire case against the guy who actually was trying to kill me. Ho ho ho. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Redo. Cough it up already. I know you have it. What are you waiting for? So you admit to it then, Chief Gant? That you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe? Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that being chief and all. But it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. Foolish move, Righto. You should have shown it then before it was too late. It's been a long battle. But the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess it up. So now we can show it. Okay. I feel a lot better about it now. Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. Now, if it fails me again, then the game's bad. And, I'm mad. Let me verify this once more. The day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of cloth of the victim's vest? Oh yes, at last you finally brought it out into the open. It's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, the prosecution requests that this be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather. There must have been a strong impact for it to have been left so clearly. You mean, it could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence. Wait, no, shut up. Edgeworth, go back. Don't say that, please. Ho ho ho. You're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy. What? Think about it. Righto had this all the time. Had all this time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that? Mr. Wright, do you really know? Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Oh man, don't... You can't... Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you, game. Very well, I'll tell you. Should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. The person to whom these fingerprints belong is... I mean, we'll say Emma. But, like, don't blow up my spot immediately, Judge. Emma Skye? What? Wait, they're mine? Sorry, Emma. But why? Why didn't you tell me? Oh, you really are something, Righto. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me. So it's true. Tragic, but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. How could you? You monster! Miss Skye! You knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't... Skye, it's not over yet. What? I'd also like to imagine that she just stiff-armed Gant off the stand again. I said this trial isn't over yet. Huh, but I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career too. That can't be true. There's like 18 more games in this series. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence? That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? I know you are, but what am I? Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. Oh, and what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? What? Chief Gant, you're absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask? It was Emma Skye, wasn't it? I'm afraid that's not possible. See, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. Contradiction? What is this fool babbling about? Talking about a contradiction. One that proves who the real killer is. Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth. What could it possibly contradict? Chief Gant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. Yeah. The evidence. The evidence. The evidence. Uh-huh. Yeah, so I mean you got all this evidence. The piece of evidence that contradicts the cloth. So, what contradicts the cloth? Well, there's there's so much evidence that contradicts the cloth that I'm struggling to find it, right? What was the glove used for again? What is the glove for? Sounds like gag, bag, nag, lag, zag. Zag, is that a word? You challenge me. What, are we playing a word game now? I remember, but what is... Because the glove does have SL9 on it. I can't remember what the glove was for. Do we know what the glove's importance is? Is the glove the evidence? I don't know if I just stumbled upon the answer by accident or if I'm just being stupid and forgetting something. I feel like both are equally likely. I gotta go with my heart, man. I don't really know. It's fun watching you squirm, Righto. Okay, well. Oh god, that would have been so good. What am I doing? Cloth was cut after he died, then something's definitely not right about it. So, no, I didn't want to present my attorney's badge. So Emma was unconscious, and then, because I mean, what could have easily happened, right? Emma's unconscious, he cuts the cloth off while she's unconscious, pushes her hand against it, right? I mean, it makes sense to me. I mean, is it... Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Nope. Okay. I was thinking like maybe because it's like not technically connected to the trial we're doing. I don't know. Evidence that contradicts the cloth. The blue badger. I still don't know what's up with the blue badger. I feel like the blue badger, like we still haven't explained why there's a handprint on it. Okay, well, let's save before we lose. So, I mean, if it was cut off, maybe the knife? I don't know what the game wants from me. Yeah. Come on, let me load. Oh god, it won't let me load yet. I don't think this prompt is bad yet. I think this is on me. Now, depending on what the actual answer is, I might think it's bad. Retroactively. So, what contradicts cloth? Wait, it's not just a picture, is it? But like, I don't really... And what exactly is it supposed to be? This is the picture Miss Skye took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out? Yes. His shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest, though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs no doubt were punctured, blood poured out of his mouth. But that piece of cloth... Oh, it's got no blood on it? Okay. I guess that makes sense. I'll buy that. I'll... Well... Actually, no, I don't buy that. Oh, yeah, never mind. I do retroactively buy that. The reason I wasn't buying it at first was because I was thinking that, well, obviously, you know, because I guess if you were to cut it off immediately, there would maybe be no blood on it, but, yeah, I don't know. I kind of completely lost my train of thought there. I mean, there is a scenario where that piece could not have any blood on it. Like, if you were to immediately cut it off after pushing him into the spear, you know, since it took him 10 more minutes to die, all that blood wasn't there just instantly. Since Emma Skye's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at that time. No, this is nonsense. Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Lana Skye? Picked up the unconscious prosecutor and impaled him on the armor's sword. Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. A jar they had broken on purpose to leave behind a... See, that makes way more sense than the he wrote it himself, and made Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago? That you personally cut this piece of cloth off the victim's vest? Ironic, isn't it? The very act of creating insurance has doomed you to prove that you're the actual murderer. Ah! I'm doing my voice, can't handle it. Oh god, I'm dying. The last like 3 videos have all been recorded in a row. It's finally all over. Oh, that was close, Rido. You almost had me. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations. What do you mean to refute his allegations? You see that piece of cloth is illegal evidence. Hey, I tried to make that argument earlier and the game said, no, you're a stupid idiot. But you haven't even passed 4th grade if you think that. And so I'm gonna say the same thing the game said to me to you. Order! Order! What nonsense is this? Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember Uji? Earlier, old Rido here concealed that piece of cloth. I mean, granted, we still haven't actually proved he killed, Goodman, right? Like, we still have to do that as well. So then, what's your excuse, Rido? You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you? God, remember 10 minutes ago when this happened? Shit, it feels like it was years ago. We're just such different people now compared to when we originally saw this scene. Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence. But that's not fair. Ho! Do you actually think you could best me in court? Looks like your last laugh's on you, son. I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct, but we don't care about that shit here, so guilty. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? True, illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed legal. Well, Mr. Wright? We have to prove that it's related to this case, I guess. Time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? Had you purposely and illegally concealed this piece of cloth? Shut up. I admit I refused to present it at one point. Ha! So the evidence is illegal! No, it isn't, Mr. Gant. It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't. What do you mean you couldn't? Rules of evidence number 2. There are certain procedures involved in presenting evidence. No, Uji, don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a coward. You can't really believe. There's only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? Very well, let us settle this once and for all. Earlier you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now. Eat my butt. This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. Sherlock the Bird presents evidence law for dummies. You know, it's only 2 sentences. The rest of the pages are just for coloring, but... What's this? I've never seen a book before in my life. I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Skye's fingerprints are on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth. Nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself. Inside your safe. Goes without saying, I did not have approval from the police department. Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And here's the crux of the matter. You see, at the time, it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and... Sorry, but can you recall? When was that picture presented? That was shown only a few moments ago! Do we need a flashback? No. He's right. We're always right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gant. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut this piece of the victim's vest? Oh, yes. No! It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer. There's only one person who that could be. Damon Gant. The killer was you! He's laughing. Oh, he's laughing, dude. Yeehaw! I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years he's been stupid around the department, trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me? Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Star, then convinced Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman? Yeah, that's right. The evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you gotta help me. Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room, and all of a sudden he decided to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? Can't transfer the evidence out. There's too many questions left unanswered. He opened his evidence locker as he was taking the evidence out. He said, "It's not too late. I'm going to hand all this over to Marshall." Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That was when I saw it. That accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. Doing so would have only led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worrying so much about the floor I didn't realize my fatal mistake. Bloody handprint. Detective Gumshoe's locker. I used to be known as the crime computer. Everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. And you put the body in my car? I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk, but what's the big deal? You make a lot more than us detectives ever will. Leaving the prosecution's car aside? How? How could you get Miss Skye involved in all of this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out. But you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker? I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take. So, you left the jar fragments in the glove? Yeah. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. All did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They got to do their jobs well, much to my dismay. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that. Tell me, Worthy. How do you stand in court? Me? Despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. Just one man. See what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Uji. What? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend. Sorry too, Damon Gantz. I knew you as you used to be, long ago. You were once a fine investigator and example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person. Those days are gone now, Uji. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Rido here. And Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sounds of a new beginning. So, here's my question. Why did he murder Neil again? I feel like we didn't actually establish why he killed Neil. Because, I mean, he walks in, everyone's just freaking unconscious, right? Like, he could have just arrested Dark at that moment, you know? And there's definitely would have been enough evidence for them to convict, right? I mean, that's kind of like the whole point of the game, is that the prosecution can kind of convict on very slim or very flimsy evidence. I don't really get why Neil had to die in this situation, you know? Like fabricating the crime scene, or like, you know, I can see the incentive to fabricate evidence and mess with the crime scene, but killing Neil, I mean, I guess technically they had to have a murder, I guess, to get him, so they sacrificed Neil. But, I mean, they still could have probably gotten him for, like, attempted murder, and then used that to, as, like, evidence for his involvement in the previous cases, because if you can prove that he was willing to try and kill someone, then it's more likely for people to buy that, or for a judge to buy that, he committed the other previous murders. Like, I just feel like the killing of Neil, unless I just completely missed something, which is entirely possible. I mean, there was a lot going on there, and I was kind of focused on reading the dialogue. Like, they didn't really explain why he had to kill Neil. There are two things I want you to understand. Yes. First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Skye? You no longer have any reason to keep silent. I mean, there's benefits out of there, right? Him being able to manipulate Lana and everything, but I guess it was just kind of weird for them to, like, at the end of Damon's speech, almost make it seem like he was just a misguided guy trying to, get the truth by any, not get the truth, but get convictions on people that were probably guilty by any means, when it's like he kind of murders Neil for no real reason beyond personal gain. When the trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years. From the time I had Gant help me forge evidence up until today. So, it seems that all the questions raised in this trial have been answered. Sorry, Miss Skye. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble. My. What high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows? Years from now, you just might make it to the top. Maybe even become a quote-unquote ace attorney. Don't ever smile at me again, lady. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. Miss Skye, and to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few years. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. It was nothing. Liar. I was worried the pressure might break you, and yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. What are you talking about? Edgeworth never helped me. Not a second of help from him. Did it all on my own, via the power of time travel. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop it. I only did my job. Come on, Edgeworth. You got a chance to slide in them DMs. You can be a stepdad. In light of this case, it's, or not really stepdad, brother-in-law, I guess. It seems a good self-examining is in order for us all. Miss Skye? Yes, Your Honor? You're innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. Trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. Is there something amusing about all this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. Long time since I felt free of these heavy chains. Well, this trial has gone on for far too long. You're telling me, dude. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Ms. Lana Skye. Deploy the confetti! I just love that there's confetti, dude. That is all. This court is adjourned. Ooh, boy. My voice is fucking dying, dude, but I'm like, I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop. You can't make me stop. At long last, it's finally over. Emma? Why the long face? Oh, well, since I was a new character introduced in the bonus chapter of this game, I won't show up until at least several more games, if at all, ever again, so it's kind of a sad goodbye. I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook. But at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit. That's not it. Just now, after the trial ended, I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. God, remember years ago when we saw this scene? You know, I did my best too, but Lana didn't say a single word to me. Hope not interrupting anything, pals. No, we weren't having like a sad, somber moment or nothing. Oh, guess I am. Alright, see you at the office, buddy. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? I guess it's maybe like something Lana wanted to give Emma. Man, you're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run around while on duty. And top all off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. I feel like I've seen this line before. A few different times. Hey, lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding. Are you here because of my sister again? Nope. Not this time. I came today because of you, pal. Me? You're under arrest. That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone. Lana? Should you be doing this? He's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell if you won't. Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day 2 years ago? The first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess. I asked Gant to help me cover up the truth. Thought I was doing it for your sake. But now, I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. The only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew. But sis, you were only doing it for me. No. I turned my back on you that day. In hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you. Sis? Such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, so sorry. But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now. Short. Happy? Of course. No, sis. I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have. Oh, Emma. Emma. Oh, look at that. It's so sweet. Now, if only she wasn't dressed like she was like a general in the Great War. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in doing so, we can find the way back to our rightful path. Our rightful path? Our Phoenix rightful path! Sorry. And it is from there we can move on towards a brighter future. At least that's what I felt, watching the two sisters make up. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe? Me? Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Also, where's the payment, lady? Isn't that right? Edgeworth? Edgeworth? Stop hiding and come over here. Stupid sexy Edgeworth. Come on, do the face, damn it. Where was he hiding? I just came to say congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Right. Yes? Well, I'll be going now. Come on, whoop for me, baby. Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realized today that I can't correct my mistakes. Mr. Edgeworth? Not only that, I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right. You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. I mean, we've seen it already. I gotta preserve what little voice is remaining. I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. And then Edgeworth became Edgeman. He roams around at night in costume, beating up crusaders. Or criminals. I don't know why I say crusaders. But in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. It's scary. I've known that to be true for quite some time now. But Edgeworth? Who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor. Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma? Both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime. They both made the same mistake. You said in order to fight crime on my own, I'd need a weapon? That may be true. Think back to today's trial. We weren't alone. We were working together with Mr. Wright. And because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. And also, technically, it's collusion between the defense and the prosecution, which can actually be grounds for a mistrial. But, shut up. Don't say that. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? Huh? What? Oh, yeah. What is this? A pop quiz? Come on, Mr. Wright. Show him what Lana's talking about. Evidence, huh? I don't know the evidence. Come on, I can't end the game by making Edgeworth sad. Something that neither Edgeworth or I would have been able to find on our own. I mean, the evidence list? I would assume the evidence list. That's the picture I drew. Our counterattack began with this. You had one half of the evidence list, and I had the other. Apart, we wouldn't have been able to completely restore him, this picture. That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edgeworth. It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth? You'll excuse me? There are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. Alright, see you at the office later, buddy. Edgeworth, what will you do now? Like I said, I'm gonna dress up in a batsuit and beat up criminals. Well, whatever you do, just remember. You can let what happened kill your the prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you. I know. Seems I owe you my thanks too, right? And there's that face one last time. But what I must face now is my problem. Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court. Farewell. I better be going too. You know, got prison to go to and all that. Okay, I'll be by to visit soon. It seems we both have a lot to learn and catching up to do. Here, this is a little something for you. Scientific investigation? This edition has 3 whole sentences in it. The first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis, I will. Alright, I'm done. Here you go, you can have it back. So another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal. You didn't pay the rent and they're foreclosing the office, so, buddy, I need somewhere to sleep. Huh? What is it, detective? There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this. But I thought you said it was okay. Well, I mean, it may be okay with me, but the folks at prison, they kind of have like a different viewpoint, you know? You've heard you have to look at things from multiple perspectives before, and everyone's got their own viewpoints, and they're all equally valid. Now, sometimes the law says that's not true and you're going to jail, but, you know, I choose to not believe in that viewpoint. Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Huh? Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, well, haha, you see, kinda ain't got the money, and Mr. Wright here's the one who'll be footing the bill. Huh? What, you think I could afford it with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. You ain't even given my first paycheck yet. Huh? 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 Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best. Why is it suddenly feel like I want to scream? Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go pay it off together? Yeah, that's a great idea. And then we can watch them break Mr. Wright's legs. Come on, guys. Let's go. Okay, that's a great little final bit there. I think it was very good. It's like very, very super good. Oh, we're not quite done yet. I arranged for a friend of mine in Europe to take care of Emma. I hope she'll be pleased to study under a top coroner. As for me, this affair has pretty much ended my days at the prosecutor's office. Still, I managed to find my way back into the field somehow. Then I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma. So we'll do the little ending sequence and then we'll... I think this is probably going to be a separate video because my recording's at like over an hour and 40 minutes, and there was a pretty natural stopping point about 50 minutes in, so... Yikes, I thought I was going to be a goner for a moment there. In the end, though, they overlooked my unauthorized investigation of the chief's office. What? If we penalized you anymore, it'd be worse than firing you. Yep, that's what they said. It just goes to show. You can't shake me off that easily. Okay, well, at least you don't have to pay for Gumshoe's living anymore. But, yeah, I'm just kind of collecting thoughts for a little. I really like Trial 5. I mean, it's got there's some finicky stuff in it compared to like the regular trials, which are a lot more straightforward. My new mission is to guard the main entrance and take care of Billy. Can you believe it? I've been demoted to a security guard. Who's Billy? My partner's keeping an eye on the entrance for me today. Is Billy the cactus? I'll show them though. Someday I'm going to make a detective. Yes, sir. Then I can be just like that Dick Gumshoe. Big aspirations. But yeah, like I really like Chapter 5. I thought it was very good. Like I said, just a little bit of finagly stuff, which I think some of it was just caused by like the extra complexity of Chapter 5 compared to the previous games, with it being, you know, a newer creation. They still never like, why is he got a big handprint on him? Why is he all dusty and everything? I felt like that was gonna be important at some point, but I guess it's just that Gumshoe's not a good artist. Is that the joke? But and I mean, as the game as a whole, I mean, I really enjoyed it. Like, it does it's got like a really good job like with characterization and like interactions between the characters. What is it? Can't you see I'm having me a showdown with a steak lunch partner? This Starman to sneak this in with me. She's seeing out one of the guards, it seems. Well, cowboy, it looks like you did it. You even gave Bambina back her smile. You make sure Billy and the gang get their water. Right, I was saying. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that's what the series does the best is the characterization and interactions between characters. Looks like we won't be seeing each other for a while. As a farewell gift, I put a new meal on the menu. The right way lunch. The top layer tastes as bitter as defeat, but the bottom layer's as sweet as victory. Kids seem to dig the turnabout theme. It's a hot seller around exam time. Just make sure not to eat it backwards. I get turnabout because the chapters are all called turnabout at the start of the game. But yeah, I did like one of the things I did like about this trial was honestly like the mystery was pretty good. Like I do like that. Like even though you kind of like it didn't outright tell you that Damon was the murderer. Let me see again. What was his name? Mr. Left? Anyway, he said he's been doing something or other for how many years? Well, anyway, I got another trial to get to, so I'd better be... Huh? Oh no, I forgot my gavel. Sorry, gotta go. I kind of missed that first line. But, what was I saying? Like, they keep interrupting me. But it's like, I kind of want to talk over the credits because, you know, we got these, like, dead periods where I don't know what to do if I'm not talking. Maybe that's the last one. Oh, Maya, what's up, girlie? Ah, nothing soothes the soul like fresh country air, said no one ever. Still, sometimes I do miss hearing you and your objection. Still, I can't go back until I'm a full-fledged spirit medium. Mystic Maya, afternoon training's about to begin. Coming. Well, see you around, Nick. Okay, so we went up and visited Maya. That's cool. Trying to think for a second. But yeah, like I do like the thing with Damon is that even though like you kind of know, because I mean his name is fucking Damon, and look at him, you know that he's gonna be kind of like the main final villain, but you don't actually 100% know that he's the one who killed Neil, until the end. Like there's still always the plausible deniability that he was like killed in some other way, like maybe Dark did it. Mr. Edgeworth, Mr. Edgeworth, I brought you your tea. Oh, what's going on? Is that his letter? Yeah, I think the characterization and the character like interactions are really the main strength. The individual like, thanks for coming to see me off. I can't believe I'm going to Europe. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you so much for everything. You could thank us with a little money. I'm a little sad, but I'll be alright. Whenever I want to see Lana, all I have to do is open this book and read the last sentence. Sentence number 3. Is there a picture in there? Oh, looky there. Yep. That's a picture. Oh, we got an achievement. Well, yeah, just a little final closing thoughts. Trying what I've been trying to say since the credits started, and I kept getting interrupted by their stupid scenes of closure that are well done and enjoyable. But yeah, overall, like very good. I quite enjoyed it. Characters are really the main strength. The overall like individual plot of each case is like it's not. I wouldn't say it's like I don't know. Like, I feel like they're kind of a mixed job, or mixed bag of the first cases. I'm trying to think of how to, like, phrase it. Like, I didn't like, like the second case, I wasn't a huge fan of them being, like, so outright and like, oh, this is the guy who killed Mia. Or, yeah, Mia. And also, like, I feel like Mia's death kind of happens a little too... Like, I kind of would have liked there to be, like, a one full chapter that's, like, kind of fleshing out the relationship between, like, the mentor relationship between, I mean, you have the tutorial thing, but that's so short that I don't really count it. Like, if maybe there was, like, one extra case that was a little bit longer and kind of you could get, like, attached to her character, as opposed to she's in the game for, like, like an hour, basically. Maybe not even an hour, like 40 minutes, and then she's killed off. It's kind of, like, hard to care because she's just been introduced, I would say. And granted, one of the things is that her being dead isn't like a permanent thing per se, because she kind of shows up in like spirit flashbacks, I guess, but or not flashbacks, but possession things. And I guess that's going to be a recurring theme throughout the rest of the games. I don't really know, but overall, like, a very, very good. Little finagly stuff here and there sometimes where, I mean, for the most part, I feel like the logic was pretty sound for the original 4 cases. It's just like a few times in the 5th case, where I felt like it got a little too, like, for the most part, pretty good. But there were a few times where I'm like, I don't know about this. I feel like you're not really giving me enough to go on here, or like you're saying like something that just kind of contradicts, or something that's like unintuitive. Like, my biggest problem with a lot of these, like, prompts or situations where there's multiple logical explanations, and it's like, pick the one that we think is the best. We kind of ran into that a bit during, the Emma cross-examination at the end of the 5th chapter, where there's so many, like, contradictions in her original testimony, but you have to pick the one that it wants you to do first. Where, like, I was trying to pick up on the idea that, like, well, she couldn't have seen the identities of the men if it was so dark that she only saw their shadows, right? But, like, that's not they wanted that contradiction in the next section. You're not supposed to try and figure that out yet, and so you're getting punished for, even though you have the right idea, the game can't accept your correct idea yet because it wants to do that later. So that's just kind of and there's no real easy solution to that. A lot of games that are kind of structured in this format run into that same problem, but it is always slightly annoying when it happens. As for the next game, we'll probably just go ahead and roll right into whatever the second game is called. I think it's Justice for All is the second game, maybe. We'll probably do that. Then we'll take a break, since this game ended up being a lot longer than not a lot longer, but a decent bit longer than I thought. Because, like, when we finished Chapter 4 at, like, Part 18, I kind of figured Chapter 5 would be over by, like, Part 25, not 32, I think is what this will technically be. But so we'll probably just go ahead and roll right into the next game, just to kind of keep a visual novel going on the channel. And I would like to just kind of keep recording, because it'll be, like, an easy transition for me to keep kind of doing the same game, since I'm full on in, I'm still stockpiling videos for when Trails of Zero comes out in a few days for me. It'll have already, that Let's Play will have been started by the time this video comes out, but, I know I'm going to be lost in the sauce recording that when that starts, so I want to go ahead and have a good stockpile of videos for that, of these other series. But, yeah, overall, very good game. Quite enjoyed it. Looking forward to playing the sequel and the rest of the series as time goes on. I'm Extra Cheesy 87. Stay tuned for the next part, or next Let's Play of the same series, which is almost kind of like a next part, if you just pretend that the game name hasn't changed. And bye, guys.